Good evening. It's 6 p.m. and today is October 26th, and we are ready to begin our Prince George's County Cable Television Commission meeting. We all have the agenda before us, and the first item is the approval of the minutes. I would ask at this point that we simply accept the minutes as is, and then we'll come back to that perhaps near the end of the meeting to take a vote if that's appropriate. Action items is the next item on the agenda.
There are no action items.
No action items, thank you. And then monthly reports.
I have monthly reports. Okay, for the month of September 2016, for Verizon, I have 62 open calls and 62 closed calls. For Comcast, I have 5 open calls and 4 closed calls, and 1 is outstanding. For the outstanding Comcast, Ms. Cleveland had called on September 9 with complaint about her bill. She stated that her bill has been increased incorrect, and then also that she was billed incorrectly for the past 4 months. According to her, she said her previous bills usually range between $120 and $158, and she called to request for some kind of explanation of why her bill increased for the past 4 months. She also stated that around mid-June and the entire month of July, her internet was interrupted during certain hours of the day, and therefore she was unable to do her teleworking from home. So she called the Cable Commission requesting for some kind of explanation, and also requesting that she be refunded for the time that she was not able to use the internet, as well as her billing discrepancies. On 9/7, when Comcast was assigned a rep to the case, and then on 9/14, Comcast sent a call me letter stating that they were unable to contact Ms. Cleveland. The commission staff contacted Ms. Cleveland, and she provided a number that she can be reached. So we also gave that number to Comcast staff, who was representing handling the case. And on 9/26, Ms. Cleveland also called to report that her service was disconnected while she was teleworking from home. And she was also, at that point, willing to make a payment in order, for her outstanding billing. And she requested at that point that she was being charged for disconnection fee of $40, and she requested that that should be waived, because she wanted to make that payment. Also, she stated that she was never contacted by Comcast rep, to address her billing issue. So she was really upset about that, and also the lack of response from Comcast really made her very upset, because they were unable to, contact her so that they can address the issue of the billing discrepancies. So, but as of September, this issue was still open. But right now, October 2016, Comcast has considered the issue closed, but Ms. Cleveland still has some, reservation about that. So she's here tonight, and she's going to talk more about it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments from commissioners? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the Community Television Prince George's County report. We have received that report. Any questions, comments on the report?
It was submitted and accepted.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward, the next agenda item is the public comment, and I see we have some visitors with us this evening, so let's get right into that.
Ms. Jeannie Cleveland is here with us tonight. She's gonna, Ms. Cleveland, yeah. You can sit, you can start.
No, she's fine, she's fine.
Okay.
Gina,
Yeah, wherever you want to, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, let me start off by thanking the council for having this open forum where citizens can come and address their concerns with the cable service. I do appreciate that, and I would like to say that I have had the pleasure of working with two reps from the council, from the Cable Commission, that's Gina, and one young lady before her, Victoria, I think her name was, and I would like to say that I applaud them. They did work diligently to try to get my concerns addressed, but they just didn't start in September, they started in June, and we are just now receiving some type of resolution, meaning that they have agreed to credit my account some monies for the cutoffs that I received. And I told Gina, and Victoria was actually on the phone with me one day on the call. Once you owe a bill with Comcast, it is extremely hard to get caught up because they bill a month in advance. Let me first say that. My bill was behind, and I had a terrible time of trying to catch it up because it was $196, and every time I got one, it was $196. They refused. I requested that they would mail me my bills. I still don't have a mail bill. They say they cut the bill on the 21st. Today is the 26th. I still don't have a Comcast bill. There was a time in the past where Comcast had the cable commissioner's number on the bill. That is no longer on there. And I would like to know why. The second thing is their billing practices are so erroneous. And when they cut off your service, I have experienced it at least 3 times in the last 30 days where I was working from home and I had no internet service. When I called Comcast, they said, oh, it's an outage in the area. I called them at 12:30, 1 o'clock. They said the outage can be out until 6. It cannot be out until 6. I cannot see you having multiple outages several times during the month. I think that they're planned. But when you look at your Comcast bill, you never see a credit. You never see a line item on there that says your service was disconnected and it was an outage for 12 times this month. When you call them with a problem and say, is something wrong with my cable, is something wrong with my TV, is something wrong with the internet, their resolution is to give you, well, how long was it out? Okay, it was out $4. Okay, you'll get a total of $6 credit on your bill. I think not. When I work from home, I telecommute, the internet pays my salary. You cannot credit my account $12 for a day's lost of work. I don't know who came up with those figures, but I would like to know. I work diligently with Gina and Victoria. I work a full-time job. I do not have 7 hours to commit to straighten out my Comcast bill every month. I simply cannot do that. When you get a disconnection notice, it have 2 different prices, fees on there. When you call in on the line and say, what is my balance? It gives you another different price of what your balance is. So you never know what to pay. And if your number falls on the list where you are subject to cut off, you will never get an agent on the phone. We can test it out, we can try it out, and we can bring people in. We need to do a survey. Where I live, I can only get Comcast. If it wasn't for that, I would not be here tonight because I would not have them. On the backside where I worked, I've called DirecTV. I've called other cable providers to see if I could get different cable service, but my house faces the golf course. And so they say that Comcast has a lockdown on the cable. You could possibly get a different internet, but they have wants to say that they could come out and provide that service. And I'd like to know why. Why does Comcast have a lockdown on cable services in the Upper Marlboro area? The other thing is the bills. The cutoff notice and the regular bills are 2 different bills with 3 different figures on them. And I rushed out of work and did not bring my folder with those, but I can provide them for you this week. The other thing is, when I call, I'm trying to request a manager to escalate the problem because, like I said, I do not have that time to dedicate to trying to straighten out the bill. You can never get a manager to call you back. Like I said, I started reporting this problem in June 2016. I am not a stranger to the Cable Commission. If you check the records, I have been here before, and the same problem exists. It's a billing problem. I speak to senior citizens on a daily basis who could not figure out a bill, and they're taken advantage of. And of course, if you can't pay $196 and $196, which is a $400 cable bill, if you miss one payment, they double. And once they double, they charge you a $40 fee to reconnect you. So every month, those fees continue to add up. So that's a problem. So I came to the Cable Commission tonight to find out a few things. Who do we talk to about the billing procedures for all cable companies? They say they can bill you a month in advance, but the turnaround time is not enough for me as a citizen. And I don't know if that problem is too big for the Cable Commission tonight. If so, I have been in contact with my representatives in Annapolis, and I have had extensive conversations with them, and they have called Comcast as well. And so I don't know if they played a part in me getting 2 credits or 3 credits since Gina started on this project, but I would just like to know how we can get quick resolutions to our problems for Comcast. And the problems are not just specific to me, because Comcast was in the news. Not even 30 days for the FCC fining them a substantial amount, which was only a slap on the wrist as far as I'm concerned. Because if a company is making and bringing in $1 billion and you fine them $1 million, it's a slap on the wrist. So I intend to be an advocate for the citizens of Prince George's County, and especially the senior citizens. I would like changes made. Comcast needs to redo their billing practices, and they need to put somebody on the case who can answer the phone, and you can get managers. They say they couldn't reach me. Of course they couldn't reach me because I work during the daytime. But when I reported my claim, I gave them the work number. And I know that Victoria gave them the work number. I know that Gina gave them the work number. And if they have managers who cannot understand that when people work and they give you a contact number for their work, you should call them at work. They didn't call me at work because they did not want to resolve the problem. And I would like to say thank you for allowing me to voice my concerns tonight, and I would like written solutions in writing of what Comcast intends on doing about the concerns that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cleveland, for bringing that to our attention. I'm assuming that you have put in writing as well all of the issues that you've identified here in the staff.
Yes, sir, I have. And
Okay.
you check, if the Cable Commission checks the record,
Right.
they go back all the way to 2015, but they started again this year in June.
Okay. Thank you very much. there other
We have the
speakers?
next person, Miss Betty Williams.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm back. I'd just like to report what has happened since I was here the last time. I did get a call from William Crabtree, Billy Crabtree. Came out and talked with me a couple of times, and I understand Jerry, who is the second level person at Verizon, assigned him to the case because I had worked with him before. We did work the property, and some of the findings I'll just share with you. It appears that Verizon, I guess at one point, Comcast had the bulk of the houses in the area when it came to cable and whatnot. And in my community, it appears that the wires that are being used by Verizon are the wires that Comcast initially put there years ago. Okay? So at one point he was saying, well, those are not Verizon wires. Those are the homeowners' wires. So I convinced him that even though Comcast put the wires there, you now Verizon are using them, so they become your responsibility because they hooked in and then taking them up the wall. So it's Verizon. So I think that we kind of came to an agreement on that. They are going to start addressing the problems. He talked about the time frame, and I told him as long as they are done by April of next year, by the time we do the inspection, I would be very happy with that. He did say that they anticipate the work to be a little less in the colder months, and I guess he kind of want to do a lot of the work himself, but you know, he can't just do it all in a month's time if he's doing it by himself. So I think that we're okay with that. As far as Comcast is concerned, I talked with Sean, and Gina did reach out to me one day to ask me if I had been talking with anyone. And at that point, I had not heard back from Mr. Hook. The same day you called me, he called me that afternoon.
Oh, okay.
And we did talk, and he told me that the work in my community would not start until December. Now, I was a little confused, and that's what we were talking about earlier. When Sean said that the work was progressing, I was under the impression that they were already in the community working. But I had been riding around, and I had not seen anything. But my understanding now is they are working on their end on how the project is going to work and whatnot. So I'm hoping and praying that this will take us, you know, further. Okay. So I'm pleased at this point, the communication that I've had. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. We're glad to hear that.
Yeah, but I'll still be following it until it's done. So
Please, and
you'll
keep
see.
us appraised.
I will. I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you want that? Okay. The next person would be Miss Smith, Foster.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dee Smith Foster, and I am a Prince George's County PTSA Council Delegate for Academic Academy, and I'm here to express concerns regarding Milestones Communication and Verizon Wireless, and they're wanting to build cell phone towers on the school grounds. My main concern is that they have provided limited notification to the parents and students of that school. I actually attended one of their poorly attended community meetings, and the only reason or the only way that I actually knew about that meeting is because I actually attended the PTSA meeting. There were about 50 flyers that were there. There were probably double the amount of students, and the principal actually did announce that there was a community meeting. But outside of that forum, there were no other broad reach notification to the parents or to the students or to the community for that matter. When I did attend the meeting that that Milestones had, it was not on the school grounds, and they actually had the meeting at the same date and time that the school was having an event going on that evening as well too. So I did attend to represent the PTSA for the school, and I listened to Milestones Communications business plan to build the cell phone towers. I was not impressed, and I was very much disappointed because they did not address the concerns that the community and what is already out in the community regarding the safety concerns, the long-term health concerns, or even short-term concerns regarding RF emissions or any long-term effects that may take place. And so there was little to no conversation with that. And again, I did ask that they return to the school to, to present their business plan to the actual parents and teachers. And so since then, the conversation has been very minimal in the sense that it almost seems optional, that they may or may not come. They were initially asked to come, and they said they couldn't make it. And so what they did was they did that meeting, which was not on the school grounds at Faith Methodist, was like a couple miles up from the school. But again, it was at a conflicting time as another event on the school grounds. And so we as the PTSA are opposed against the cell phone towers, but at a minimum, the parents and the students need to be aware of what they're wanting, what's wanting to take place on the school grounds, and they need an opportunity to ask questions and have an opportunity for a dialogue if they have any concerns. And so I'm just feeling that Milestone's communication through Verizon Wireless is being very disingenuous in their attempts of communicating with the community.
Have there been any other community outreach engagement meetings outside of the one you just mentioned?
At that meeting, there was a representative from the Accokeek Civic Association. I'm not sure if there were any other conversations between that community outreach and with Milestones. I do know that they expressed some concerns as well too from the Accokeek Civic Association, but outside of that meeting, no.
And when are they saying they're planning to put this tower up?
It's going through like this process where they, the last I heard was that they're sending it to like another committee for it to move forward. I just don't know all the formal names of these committees, but they're looking to move forward. They've already built cell phone towers on some Prince George's County schools right now, and even then, those communities or parents were not aware. And at this community meeting I went to, they were looking to build the cell phone tower on the back of the school in the dead center where the school is actually building a playground.
The county actually has a telecommunications transmission facility committee. Have you been in touch with them at all?
No, I was just informed about that committee, and I was told that they did not meet formally this month.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to attending and definitely expressing the concerns, but there was no formal meeting this month.
That would be the appropriate group to bring your concerns to. We don't have any jurisdiction over the cell towers.
Okay.
But we appreciate you coming in.
No problem. No problem. And I thank you for that guidance too.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
And if I could just add, I actually happen to be a board member of that. So if you could give me your information, I will make sure that the chairperson of that board actually is aware of your concern and that we address it.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other?
Okay, that's it for the public.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay, whoops, excuse me. Okay, the next agenda item is, excuse me, the Comcast representative report. Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners and Executive Director Pete Shaw. My name is Stacy Burnett. I'm the Senior Director of Government and Regulatory Affairs at Comcast. And here with me is Adiyinka Ogunlagon. She's a Senior Manager at Comcast. And Prince George's County is our territory. This is where we focus our attention. And so I only have one matter to address, and that's Ms. Cleveland's concerns. It pains me to hear complaints like that because so often we get it right, people don't complain, but to hear a complaint like that means we definitely got it wrong. And if we have been in communications or out of communications with her since June about a problem, it's a big problem, and we need to do something about it. And so we commit, Adiyinka and I, to make sure this issue gets to an escalated level in my company. I'm not guaranteeing we're gonna give her a refund or $500 or $600, but I am guaranteeing someone with authority is going to look at her account and do what we can to win her business back and her faith in this company back. Because we do good work often. you don't get thousands of complaints. And we have thousands of customers here in Prince George's County, and you don't get thousands of complaints from us. And so I'm concerned that this has happened and it's been outstanding for this period of time. I can't go through each of Ms. Cleveland's claims because I don't have her account with me, and I'm not a customer service person. I'm a government affairs person, but I do know people in our customer service department, and we're going to try to work it out with you. Now, I do need to address two things that are just public information, and I wouldn't want anyone to be confused about them. Number one, we do bill a month in advance, and when people sign up with our services, it's clearly stated on our documents. It's not a secret. Moreover, there are no federal restrictions in terms of us billing a month in advance. And if that's a problem for some people, we understand it. And that's just the way we do business. And so it's if it doesn't work for some people, we understand, but that's how we do business, and we make it known when you sign up for our services. And then the second thing I wanted to bring up is the statement about Comcast has a lockdown on certain communities. There is competition in cable. Of course, we do like being the only service provider in a certain area, but any service provider can come to this commission and come to Prince George's County government and request an opportunity to provide services, and we can't do anything about it. So we don't have any lockdown on anything. And I know that's something Ms. Cleveland probably doesn't know. She's a very intelligent lady. She explained all of her issues succinctly. I got it. But she just didn't know possibly that competition is open to any service provider that wants to apply to provide services in your neighborhood. And because they haven't, I don't know why, but they are, in fact, most communities encourage competition. They want other providers to come in. So I just wanted to clear that up so that there's no perception that we're trying to keep other providers out. We are not. So again, my goal is to come back next month, and Ms. Cleveland's problems will be resolved to the best that we can resolve them. And hopefully she won't have to come and take time out of her busy day to complain about this. I don't want that for you. And so we're going to work hard to make this better.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. I'm certain that you'll be held to task.
I know I will, by all of you and Ms. Cleveland, most importantly. She's our customer.
Well, I would just like to say that there are probably, as in any area, there are thousands of people who complain, but they're not going to take out that time to come and tell you. And they should, frankly, they shouldn't have to. For the kind of money that Comcast make, it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't take 4 months to get a problem fixed. And the other problem is they told me that they have a log, an outage log. And of course, I requested to have a copy of that log, but they didn't send me one. They said they can't do that. So I would like to get possibly a copy of the outage log, since I have experienced many days of my internet being out in the middle of the day. But normally working people are not home in the middle of the day. And so that's stealing. If I pay for that service and it's been interrupted in the middle of the day and I'm not home, and Comcast doesn't send out a regular log like they do disconnection notices, then that's stealing. And we don't want to do that to our citizens of Prince George's County. And the other thing is, I would like to have a DirecTV representative here. I don't know if a Verizon one is here, but that's not a myth about Comcast having a lockdown on cable and something else, and that other companies can only provide the internet. I've checked that for several months, even last year. So I would implore you to have somebody to come from Verizon and from DirecTV, so we can meet face to face and find out why DirecTV is saying that they can only provide internet to certain customers.
We typically do have representatives from both Comcast and Verizon here. DirecTV is outside of our purview, so we have no authority there at all. Okay, but again, we look forward to next month's report, and hopefully everything will be resolved to your satisfaction. The next, any other comments from commissioners, questions, comments? Now the next agenda item is a report from the Verizon representative, and let me just make a note that there seems to be, we've noticed quite an increase in the number of complaints that have come in regarding Verizon, and most of those complaints have had to do with billings. Okay, so we're anxious to hear what Verizon has to report to us this evening.
Oh, I have no report.
You have no report, okay.
No.
Any comment with regard to the increase in the number of
I haven't
complaints?
even looked into it. I
Okay.
just got the log yesterday, so
Okay,
I haven't had a chance to look into it.
all right, so you'll, at the next meeting, hopefully be able to provide some
Sure, or
insight
even
on that.
more.
Great, thank you so much.
But I'm glad to see that they all been closed.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad to see that they all
Been
have
closed?
been closed.
Yes, I did notice that as well.
Yes.
Okay. Right, right. Questions, comments from commissioners? No? Okay. If there are no other comments or questions from the commissioners, then we have basically concluded our business for the evening, and our next meeting is scheduled for the 23rd of November.
Which may be an issue, that's the day before
Before
Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving, right.
so
So
we have to.
we will have to talk about that and communicate when we'll actually meet.
Have you had this come up before?
Yes,
And what do you guys do? Done
we
in the past?
normally move it up a week,
So it would be sooner in November?
yes.
Okay, so that's that. Let me back up too on the, we deferred approval of the minutes until we had sufficient number of commissioners here. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the September 28th meeting. Been moved and a second. Okay. If there are no objections, hearing none, the minutes are approved. And if there's nothing further on the agenda or other business, we are adjourned. Thank you again for coming this evening.
Thank you.